welcome to Solve This Murder. I'm your detective, Dani.
And I'm your crime scene criminal and witnesses, Bill. This is part 2 of The Virtual Victim.
In part 1, I and an audience of thousands witnessed a murder, but only the virtual reality version.
And then, upon investigating the crime scene, Dani found broken glass, the victim's belongings all strewn about, and the victim himself stabbed in the back with his own kitchen knife.
And after playing a game of spot the difference with these strewn about belongings, I found that one item was missing, a conspicuous-looking hard drive.
All right, Dani, what are you going to do now? You've sort of investigated the crime scene.
I believe we decided last time, upon ending, I was going to go and visit Nicole and see what she thought of things.
Nicole the Virgson.
That's the one.
All right, let me find Nicole's notes.
She gets her name written on a page. Does she live nearby?
She lives nearby enough.
Okay.
It's not like you'd get a taxi.
But close enough to be suspicious, but not too suspicious.
Yeah.
She doesn't live in the room above.
Yeah.
But she's also not in New Zealand.
She's not exactly. She's in the same town, in the same, near enough by.
Okay.
You know, it's like a 10-minute drive or something.
Great. I knock on her mansion door.
Okay, Nicole is a successful streamer. She did not have a mansion. She's probably also in an apartment, but a nice one. Maybe not a penthouse apartment. She doesn't need it.
Okay. I mean, true enough, I suppose.
So yeah, you approach Nicole's very nice apartment.
Yeah, and I don't want to make small talk, so let's just say I knock and she's there and I get let in.
You knock, she's there,
We
and
good?
you get let in.
Oh, thank God. This works great. So, tell me about yourself. Oh, God.
She looks at you waiting for you to say something.
What's her emotional state right now? How much has she been told? I would be worried that she stayed on stream for a while and then eventually the chat started saying what had happened.
She closed the stream straight away.
Okay.
She definitely looks a bit distraught. She seems like she's sad. I'm not sure if she's been crying, but she looks a little bit like clearly she knows what this is about.
Yeah, I assume it's a first for her.
Yeah, not so often you sort of see somebody die.
It was worse than seeing somebody die. It was horrible.
She says, they said that someone might be coming to talk to me. You must be the detective?
Yeah, I just figured if anyone could give me some information about topics that I am admittedly not that familiar with, it'd be you. I need what I can get. So
anything I can do to help, of course.
Information. I don't suspect you at all.
I probably gave this character a different voice when she was on the Twitch stream, right? She probably didn't sound like me.
Murder changes people, Billy.
Okay, of course. I'm retconning the voice.
Yeah. Okay, so let's just go through a little bit about what I do know. This was your stream that we were watching.
Yes, yeah, it's my stream. It's The Verge. My name's Nicole Vergson.
Mm-hmm. Nothing to do with the existent media company?
No. That's a real company, isn't it? The Verge? Is that a real company?
I heard it like a couple of days ago. I read it.
Well,
I don't quite
says,
know what it was.
I started my Twitch channel the day before they became a company. And I hope that lines up.
Makes sense. You should sue.
I did. That's how I made my millions.
Great. And you were doing this. It wasn't your game, but you just enjoy playing this game that was Dave's. He made it.
Yeah, sorry. I suppose I should fill you in on all the connections and things. Yeah, so Dave is a game developer.
Yep.
I thought you might know this sort of stuff. He designed Shattered Worlds. It's a great game. It's a really good game. That's why I stream it. I was streaming it already a while ago when it first came out, and I think they appreciated the publicity of that. And then Dave contacted me one day. He wanted to join in and play. I thought it's a good thing for the stream. So I hadn't tried out the teams mode before that, and so I got him, and we needed a third. So I had my friend Josh also jump on.
Well, this was what I was going to ask you as well. Is Josh also from around here? You were pre-existing friends?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Josh and I, we went to school together.
Mm-hmm.
He's a long-term friend.
But not Dave?
No, Dave. I didn't know until that first stream. But I mean, that was a year ago now. I feel like we have become friends. He's a great guy.
Have you ever met up in person and stuff like that?
we have a few times. You know, we've gone out for drinks and things.
Yeah, it just feels like it's a surprise that it just so happened that you were big on streaming this game, and he, look, as far as the internet goes, lives right around the corner from you. It's quite something.
Well, I mean,
Or
we
was
are
that
in the
sort of why you were interested in
we are
Shattered
in the
Worlds?
gaming capital of the world. We haven't defined what
okay.
city this is, but game developers and streamers everywhere.
Gotcha. Okay, so not actually all that much of a surprise.
I mean, not a surprise, but not a surprise.
Yeah, understood. And how is Shattered Worlds?
Oh, look, the game is good. It's a great game. Is it weird to be talking about it? I mean, but okay, yeah.
Look, gotta be honest, you never know what's gonna help.
No, look, it's a good game. It's a lot of fun to play. It's really smooth. You know, there's other games like it, but nothing has captured that balance of like good gameplay, but also a smooth user experience. Good like design,
oh, really?
UI.
Even the
it works really
online multiplayer doesn't have much jank?
Yeah, it moves really well, and it's just it looks good, and
Does
the
the
world
VR
is nice.
make you feel sick?
It used to. It definitely did. I took a while to get used to it. I figured out that I was sitting at. So you don't need to hear this.
You never know. I might.
Okay. Yeah. I got used to it.
What if whoever did this was someone else who had experienced Shattered World? Like
And they got mad about the VR being not smooth?
No. I just need to know all of the information. What if
Okay.
they tell me something contradictory? What if they
That's
tell me
true.
that it's got all the jank?
That's fair. Look, if they say it's got the jank, they're wrong. You can see the jank in other people's like, you know, when a game gets popular, you get all the rip-off versions of the game, which some of them are just trash. Some of them are really well designed, but they don't have that, I don't know, artistic connectedness to it. You know, sometimes
Yeah.
the game just flows well.
Yeah, this feels like a huge game. Was this a solo project?
Not a soul. I don't think it was soul. Look, I know he's part of he's got a company.
Yeah, Fracture, right?
Fracture. Yeah, Fracture is the game company, but it was their first game.
It was.
It was their sort of look, if you want the details, he left his last company, Dave. He used to be a game designer working at Gunpoint.
Oh, okay.
And he left and he started this company with a guy called Luke Holloman. And they do that together. I don't know exactly how the roles or anything like that. Obviously, I don't work at the company, but they've got some designers on their teams. They've got other stuff, but the two of them are sort of the lead figures. Although, I mean, I'm telling you that you really don't see much of Luke in the media. It's really
by
Dave.
choice or
I couldn't tell you, but it's a Dave centric advertising. I guess.
Yeah, it could have been like he didn't want to. It could have been that there are just certain roles that invite that more. Could have been that Dave was better looking. I don't know.
Well, I mean, Dave was not bad looking, and
Okay.
and he's a charismatic guy. He's really good on the stream.
Gotcha. And speaking of that, Josh though he didn't even have a camera from what I saw. Is that normal?
Yeah, but I mean, it's not normal for streaming. It's normal for Josh. Josh is a friend I wanted to play a game with. He's not a streamer. He doesn't do this outside of my streams.
Oh, okay.
He's a caterer actually.
Oh.
His dad had a catering company. Josh, I think, runs it now. But that's how he makes that's what he does, you know. And so he doesn't have the setup and the camera. But it's good to play with a friend, I think.
Of course. And the one last thing, just because this one is obviously a little bit hard to Google, Dave mentioned Fangs and Fortune. What was that?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
Did he mention that on the stream?
Yeah, he said, right. Like at the start, he mentioned that he was going to give some sort of sneak mention of it or something like that.
Yeah. Look, I know we didn't get to the announcement, obviously, but no, we were talking before the stream, me and him and Josh, and just chatting like we always do. And he mentioned that he was going to announce it. I didn't realize he said anything on the stream. Yeah, Fangs and Fortune. I think it was another project. He seems really excited about this one, which is. I mean, I hope it works out because after Shattered Worlds, the other stuff they've done has not been good.
Oh, there has been more since then.
Yeah, look, Shattered World is fantastic, really well designed, really well put together. A little bit of lightning in a bottle sort of thing. They've tried to release a few other games since then. Very different style, very different. They just play differently, and they haven't been hits. I think maybe Dave got a little bothered I didn't stream them. I tried them once or twice, but you know. if I'm not having fun, I don't keep playing the game.
That's tough because, I mean, you don't want to, like, when you get something big, you don't want to get a big company coming in and saying, oh, just make that over and over again. But yeah, sometimes when you go too far in different directions, it doesn't always hit as well.
Dave seemed really excited. He seemed really excited about Fangs and Fortune. He thought it was going to be another big hit.
Was it super recent that it first started being mentioned, or has he been working on this for a while?
I hadn't really heard about it before yesterday, I suppose, or whenever the stream was. Let's say yesterday.
Sure. Now, this just some general backstory. Tell me about yourself. I haven't heard much about you. How did you possibly get into this?
Oh, I think it was just right place, right time. You know, I started early on the platform. It was something to do. It's something fun, you know. And
do you do anything else outside of this, or is this
no? This has been my job for the last 5 or 6 years now. I think is when I went full time. God, that was so long ago. But no, look,
any further study or anything like that, or is this just like 24 hours on this?
I mean, it's to get this popular, you got to put in 24 hours. I've done, and I say that literally. I've done a couple of 24-hour live streams.
Oh God, you're one of those people.
But look, it just helped. It's grows and it's great. I get to, play games and be a bit of a tastemaker and just enjoy myself. It's a good job. It's tough. It's tough work, but it's a good job.
And it must be weird trying to think of where will you be in 10 years since you don't even know where the tech's going to be in 10 years.
Well, right, exactly. Where will I be in 10 years? Maybe doing this.
Do you live in a country with health insurance or free healthcare? How does this fit into?
You know what?
We don't need to go into this.
We haven't identified the country. Let's say it also has free healthcare.
Okay, that helps. Okay, now I feel like it will be most helpful for me if we can talk about this specific stream. Is that okay?
Yeah. Look, if I can do something to help, I'd like to help.
Cool. So I'm just going to say some things that I noticed on it. Maybe you can tell me if I'm off base with understanding how it all works, that sort of thing.
No, go ahead.
All right. So first thing that happened, there is a chat. Loads of people. As far as I could see, I could barely read anything in the chat. It was going so fast.
Yep, true. There's the chat. That's just the audience, so they can live chat. We have some mods. We need the mods. Look, people are generally okay, but sometimes
once you get to a couple of hundred people, you need some crowd control.
Exactly, and we have thousands, so they're generally good. Look, sometimes they generally they're like me. You know, they like to push boundaries, but it's a thing, right? You have your own community there.
Do you pay much attention to the specifics of the chat? Do you develop a sense for it, like reading the Matrix? You can see the comments and read them in a second, even though...
Yes, you start to notice, especially when it comes to negative stuff. Dave generally gets lots of good stuff, but he always, whenever he's on, it's usually one person, just a little bit of just hate, a little, just the sort of stuff people get. So clearly someone doesn't like him and comes to the streams just to be rude. So I usually, you ban them, and then, next time there's a new account that's saying suspiciously similar things. So
sure.
That sort of stuff. But that happens all the time, right?
And as far as I could tell, Dave said he couldn't even see the chat himself.
No, the chat's on my end. Josh wouldn't have probably been able to see the chat. Unless they had the stream up on a different device, they could see it then.
Ah, right. So not impossible. How do you tell the difference between someone who's just a harmless online troll and a I should be worried online troll?
Okay.
How do you know when someone's going to swat you, basically?
There's 3 levels, right? Mm-hmm. Harmless online trolls you can usually tell. They just say mean stuff, right? So this person, obviously there's someone or a couple of people who have been mean to Dave. We usually just ban them. Mm-hmm. And it's fine. They just want the attention. We don't really address it. You don't talk to them. You just ban them. You move on. Mm-hmm. Then there's sometimes there's the parasocial stuff. People get in there and they're a little too close. So, you get people saying weird stuff. We get the same thing with Dave. I don't know. I haven't banned them yet. There's one user there who I don't even know if it's creepy. It's just weird specific stuff.
Just knowing.
It's like they'll here, look, I'll show you. And they
Please.
load up an old stream and they go back and you can see there's a user called Righteous Lemon. There's lines like, "Hey, can you hear me?"
Oh.
Like that's weird, right?
I see what you mean. That's not what I expected. Huh. Any others?
Let's scroll through. They go back through.
If it's not too hard.
It takes them a little while. It's hard to get, and they've just got a video log of this thing. Oh, here's another one. Like, this one says, do you want a drink?
I see what you mean. This
It's
doesn't feel
weird.
like it's in the right venue for any of this.
I don't know if it's creepy.
No, that's unusual. That just feels like they're incorrect.
Yeah.
Rather
it's
than creepy.
Strange. But they do it. It's the same user. Righteous Lemon.
Did you find that one block-worthy? I wouldn't know what to do with that.
That's what I'm thinking. So my mods asked me the same question. I didn't really have an answer. So we generally just leave them, but they feel like
feels
they're
like
on the
they
border.
can get lost in the comments.
Well,
a
look, I mean,
little
look,
bit.
you can see where the borderline is, and they bring up a list of banned comments, and
good.
there's just stuff like, "Hey Dave, can I mail you my hair, please?" Just like that. You just get rid of those people.
Okay.
That's creep. There's freaks out there.
Yeah.
This is the weird line straddle. So I suppose that's the line.
Gotcha. And I did want to ask, you mentioned the idea of parasocial relationships, and I wondered, how well do these people feel like they know you? You have a pretty polished stream, but it feels like you are being largely yourself and not so much a character. Would these people know your relationship, friendship level with these people? Anything about your personal connections with each other?
I'm generally pretty open. I think like people know who Josh is. They know who Dave is. They know that I'm friends with Josh for a long time.
Just feel like I have to rule out wild things like, someone felt like they were in love with you and thought Dave was your boyfriend. Things like that.
I don't think they'd think that.
Mm-hmm.
And she seems to blush a little bit at the idea.
Interesting.
No, I don't think anybody is like that. I think I've got a good sort of community in general.
Sure.
But I think they know me. Honestly, it's not usually it's weirder with developers, not fans. Fans know kind of what that boundary is. Developers, people send me games to play.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll play their game for a little bit, but if it's not gelling with the crowd, I don't play it.
The expectations and not knowing, how much did they expect you to just play and praise?
Yeah, exactly. And it's really disappointing. Sometimes you get a game that's really fun for me to play, but
doesn't make a stream.
Because I'm really into games. So if a game's designed well, I'll play it. But sometimes it doesn't look right or doesn't, it's hard to parse or the UI is bad and the audience can't follow it. And so I can't really play them. It's disappointing when that happens because I want to like the game and I do like them, but the audience doesn't. So sometimes, I have to just not play it and the developers get a bit like, oh, what didn't you like about it? And it's like, I loved it, but it doesn't play well to people. That sort of stuff. That's hard to deal with sometimes.
Sure.
And because they send it to you and you're sort of emailing back and forth, it feels like I'm letting them down. But maybe that's me. Maybe that's my parasocial side. I should think of it more like a business arrangement.
Interesting. All right. I have two more main things that I want to discuss here. One, just as a nice quick question again, still on the chat. I don't know how the tech works behind this and how IP tracking and all that works. Does this site have the ability to actually figure out who people are? Or would that be getting the FBI involved levels of difficulty?
That might be getting the FBI involved levels of difficulty. It's a bit tough.
All right. So probably not going to be questioning the Righteous Lemon anytime soon.
I could give you the stuff they've said if maybe you can find a clue in it or something.
Who knows? It's not a bad idea. The odd ones like that, this person that you have described as the big anti-Daver, probably not a bad idea.
I'll see what I can put together.
Yeah, I'm sure that's not going to be fun, but could help. Okay. Now I feel like we need to actually get on to the death part.
Yes.
And what happened there. So obviously we got just a very sort of secondhand distressing view of what happened. I noticed someone clearly interrupted him.
Yeah.
It sounded like someone walked in and he just went oh, hey, what are you doing here? All this sort of stuff.
That sounds
sound right? You didn't hear anything that would have come across in your headphones that we didn't get on the stream?
No, there's nothing.
And then after that, I noticed his character's head sort of went up. Would that have just been him lifting the headset?
Yes. Yeah, his head sort of snapped up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be because he lifted the head placement is based on the visor placement. So if you put it on top of his head, it would look weird, I'm sure.
That was what I assumed was going on there. Just making sure that tracks.
Yes, it does track. The visor.
How about that? And then it looked like him gesticulating while discussing with someone.
Yeah.
Possibly in an animated way. That was all I got.
Yeah, look, I mean, I suppose so, yeah.
And while that was happening, were you and Josh still playing normally, or was it like paused in some way? I can't remember.
No, we were playing. It was a bit harder, because like with Dave not firing, I was kind of doing everything because Josh is, as you may have seen, was playing really badly.
Unusually badly?
Look, Josh isn't good. He's not a gamer.
But I mean, you invited him for a reason.
I invited him for fun, not for skill. But yeah, that day he was just being an idiot, I think. He was really all over the place.
Cool. And from there, look, to be honest, there's not much else that I feel like we can say. Whatever happened, Dave put his visor back on as if he was going to come back and play and got taken by surprise.
I guess so, yeah.
Do you notice anything else on your end beyond what I have said and what I have seen?
I don't know. Nothing that I can think of off the top of my head. Everything else was as normal. The stream was going fine. I didn't hear anything weird on his end. I didn't hear anything weird on...
No, the only things that I really caught were at the start where the person, whoever it was, started talking with him. We didn't hear them, but we heard Dave respond to them. And we got, before he pressed mute, I know you think that something or other.
Yeah, I guess. He must have been talking to whoever
of
saw him, someone he knows, I guess.
Yeah, obviously it sounds like someone he knows about an issue that Dave must have been aware of. I know you think that something or other. Maybe a misunderstanding of some sort, which is why I was looking at this whole maybe a chat person misunderstood something, though who knows if Dave would have known a person like that.
I can't see anything in the chat that seems like it would lead to that.
And so, yeah, perhaps not from the chat, but do you know anything just on a personal level with Dave? Any friction or misunderstandings with people that he might know?
Oh, well, I mean, I don't know much about... I know Josh doesn't get on with him super well.
No, they were clearly both friends with you.
Yeah, so I sometimes have to get in the middle of that. Look, Josh is lovely, right? He's a lovely guy. He's a bit unlucky with money and other stuff. So I think the fact that Dave has a lot of money and is not necessarily the most conscientious when he spends it, I think can sometimes rub Josh the wrong way. Like it's a bit jealousy led, I think. But I mean, nothing weird and nothing that could lead to I know you think blah, blah, blah. I mean, Josh was on the stream anyway, so...
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we believe.
And I don't know, professionally, like, I know he works with Luke at their company. I'm assuming they get on well.
That name. I'll definitely need to chat with him.
I know.
What about anyone at Gunpoint? The previous company?
I don't know anyone who worked at... I know...
Was it... acrimonious when he left? Do you know?
Look, I don't know. I do know that
you wouldn't have been friends back then, obviously, but maybe he talked about it.
True. Look, he doesn't talk much about Gunpoint. I do know one person who I believe worked with him there, who's actually, well, I don't know. I don't know how well they get along. I've mentioned them once to Dave, and Dave doesn't think much of them. Didn't really want to talk about them. It's another developer called Emily Shade.
Mm-hmm.
Look, and I get why Dave wouldn't like her.
Great developer name.
She was, I talked a bit about some of the rip-offs of Shattered World. She made a rip-off that was, look, and this is the one I was talking about before. This is when it's hard for me. It played great. Like, design-wise, solid game. Really, for me playing, as someone who's really into it, really cool. People did not want to watch it. It was hard for people to watch.
That's unfortunate.
The design elements weren't there. The name, horrendous.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, okay. So, Shattered World.
Great
name.
Yep.
Right? Easy to market. Her ripoff was called A Gun Fired by the Soul is Precious to Me. Yeah, not quite as savvy there, I think. But look, so I think that's maybe why Dave doesn't like her. She thinks that he ripped off.
Hold on, let me make sure that's not an acronym.
It's not Escape This Podcast. Yeah, I think, he doesn't, he thinks that she ripped off his ideas and things. So
fair. You can really tell.
He didn't. He scoffed a little bit at her name.
Oh, I meant that you can really tell the closeness of the games.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah, very similar framework. And to be fair, really well done. It's kind of like remember when Breath of the Wild was popular, and then Genshin Impact came out, and you would look at it and you'd be like, that's a copy of Breath of the Wild.
Oh,
but
yeah.
with different...
You erase the main character, and then suddenly you can't guess the game.
Exactly. They were similar, but like in a design way. The look of it quite different. But,
okay.
Well, somewhat, but and that's where I think Shattered World just does a lot better. But maybe Emily Shade you could talk to. I'm sure someone could.
Absolutely.
I've got some email. I'll give you an email address at the very least.
Yeah, quite frankly, just the more Dave info, the better.
Sure.
Yep, it's clearly something was going on here. This is something familiar. I don't even need to be saying this to you. I'm just trailing off as I wander away, I think.
Yeah, you start to walk away just mumbling, and Nicole looks at her door and thinks, I guess that's done, and slowly closes her apartment door.
As I'm talking, I should also give the side eye to my surroundings. Anything suspicious? I don't notice a brightly coloured hard drive anywhere.
No, you don't. You didn't really look around her apartment at all, but you did from the. I think you didn't even leave the doorway. But
I asked to be let in the small talk section that got fast forwarded.
Nicole went and got you a cup of tea and some biscuits. That's making it even harder to know what country we're in, everybody. Ooh. What type of biscuits were they? The cup of tea was a cup of tea, but the biscuits were bread rolls.
Was the tea hot or cold?
Ooh, you'll never. It was hot but sweet.
Look, quite frankly, I don't feel like I need to investigate her place too much. In general, at this point, I do not suspect her.
Okay.
I feel like she's fine. She has the most airtight alibi of anyone.
True, you could see her face.
It helped. It's not completely ironclad. Like, people can do fancy things.
That's true.
But yeah, I feel like she is relatively, compared to everyone else whose name I have heard, off the hook.
Lovely.
And the biggest thing about this is that I clearly need to do a deep dive into Dave. Deep dive Dave.
Yeah.
That's better. Deep Dave dive. Because he was familiar with whoever it was. This is a known issue that he was apparently talking or arguing about. So let's see how far back I've got to go. Do I have to go back as far as the previous company of Gunpoint and this Emily Shade person? Or do I need to go just external and find this other company person? This Luke Holloman, was it?
Luke Holloman. Hollomon. Holloman.
M-O-N.
Right? Holloman.
All O's. Okay.
I hope that's right, because that's a Patreon name.
Yep.
So I hope I got it right.
And then, of course, do I go right into the moment where we've got Josh, just a little bit suspicious, just a little bit unusually bad. We heard his voice and things like that, but that is a lot easier to manipulate than a whole Nicole. So he is still higher up on the suspicion list than she is.
Mm.
And then what about this more persistent issue of odd chat? You can't discount this. Would involve some serious connections going on there. Like, this wasn't a random stranger that broke into his house and stabbed him. So we would need to find out, is there anything in this chat? People that he knows, even though he doesn't do much communicating with the chat himself. Oh my god, and then we've got just the slight hints of, is there a romantic angle going on that got involved in this? There's a lot of questions. Don't have too many answers just yet, but I'm interested, and now I just have to think, where should I go next? I feel like everything is going to lead me to Luke Holloman for a while. I feel like his current business partner is a good, sensible way to go. I've gotten a bit about the chat. I should go over to the business side. To Luke's place!
All right. Solve This Murder is created by Bill Sunderland and Dani Siller as part of the Consume This Media network. To find out more about all of our shows, you can head to consumethismedia.com. A special thank you to Jared, Devon and Whit from the podcast Advanced Sagebrush and Shootouts for creating our theme music, and thanks to all of you for listening.